Hello, everyone. I hope I'm audible. Yes, I can hear my voice. So, I'm Anirudh Singla, and uh, can we have the slides on, please? Yes. So, I'm Anirudh Singla. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Pepper. And quick introduction about me. I started Pepper when I was 17, in the second year of my sophomore year in college. I'm 26 now. I just look a bit old. But it's been an amazing journey building the company. And we've been in MarTech, marketing services, for the last 8 years to realize a very profound truth. The world is changing at a much faster pace than you anticipate, and hence you must keep up with the change. And we worked with some very big enterprise customers like Adobe, Google, Mutual of Omaha, HDFC Bank, Yale University, Instacart, to realize that forward looking enterprises need to evolve at a much faster pace. And at Pepper, we're helping companies achieve that. And we believe in content led growth that enterprise marketing teams today need to win in the era of AI search. Now, it's already here, and the way you need to think about it involves starting with understanding AI search fundamentally. Now, as a gentleman said, there's so many terms out there today in the world. People are thinking, is it GEO or is it AEO or LLMO or so many different terminologies? But what really is it? And today's presentation is going to be us helping you understand how LLMs look at your brand. So, giving you a quick sense and starting with a big disclaimer, SEO is not dead. I'm sure a lot of you have gone through LinkedIn posts, blogs, people thinking, hey, is SEO dead? No, it's now become search everywhere optimization. And it has multiple terminologies. We at Pepper use the term GEO, which stands for Generative Engine Optimization. And there's AI search, there's e-commerce search. I don't know if you guys recently saw, OpenAI launched commerce inside the LLM. So what that means going forward is there's going to be a Shopify link that can come up with a recommendation of a product within the LLM. And that's not it. In the future, a lot of e-commerce will be built inside the LLM to an extent that it won't allow you to get out of it. Over time, as world transforms and commerce transforms, this is not just about your content showing up on LLMs. It's very soon the entire value chain of business is going to get built on LLMs. And hence, investing in GEO becomes super important. Google still owns 93% of the search market because right now, and these numbers now need a bit updating, but Google gets 20 billion searches a day. 20 billion. ChatGPT now gets 2 billion searches a day. 2 billion. So that's 1/10 of Google already. And then there's Perplexity and Claude, who are also very up and coming LLMs. They get 20 million each. So if you really think about it, it's a lot about Google and ChatGPT, and then the other LLMs build on it. And if you see, the generative AI traffic tools is scaling at a very unparalleled scale as one goes about this. And it's not that ChatGPT is replacing Google, it's expanding search. So a lot of people think about, hey, should I just ditch Google and move to ChatGPT because that's the cool thing? Absolutely no. It's now become another channel to optimize. So SEO isn't dying and GEO isn't cannibalizing it. It's both are super important. Customer journeys are now becoming multimodal, which means you have to think a lot from different channels, and the way and the framework to think about it is generative AI creates new real estate on the internet. And think of it as additive, not substitutive. So the future isn't SEO or GEO, it's SEO plus GEO, which becomes search everywhere optimization. How do you optimize across all platforms? And this impacts every single business. It doesn't matter if you still work on direct mail, It doesn't matter if you think digital is not relevant or still not working out as a channel yet, because it will. Because fundamentally, what's happened with LLMs is it's not changing how you market, it's changing how the customer thinks or how the customer will think. So, customer thinking and consumer journeys are going to transform in such a manner that they will look at AI and say, hey, I'm taking what AI said as first value and going with it. While Google's been around for last 20 years, everyone believes what Google says is right. Guess what? AI is going to make it far more specific, far more sharper, and hence, and far more personalized to the user. So, hence, ensuring that your brand surfaces up is very important. And historically, SEO has always been somewhere in the digital marketing organization, but now this is not just a digital thing, it's also a brand thing, because suddenly these LLMs are showing up everything around your brand sentiment, your reviews, your online reputation, few bad reviews on different platforms, and LLMs will stop recommending you. And it's very hard to change that perception because God knows it's trained on what data. And hence, how do you optimize all these channels become super important. Now, we have a framework that we use on how generative engine optimization works. We call it visibility, citability, and retrievability. Visibility starts from, can LLM see your content? Can you today track where you're showing up on all these LLMs? There are a lot of tools. In fact, we at Pepper have built one. It's called Atlas, and I'll talk about that a bit. But you can today audit if you're being cited across AI search across these LLMs. Like we used to track keywords for SEO, for GEO, you have to track prompts. You have to figure out and analyze based on your user demographic what are potential prompts that a customer might be thinking about. Now, the question might be, hey, how do I know what prompt? You can still use the indicative search values of keywords from SEMrush, Ahrefs, and all these SEO tools, and they can tell you at least what people are searching. There's a big segment called people also ask that comes up on Google. That's a very good indication of what people might also be searching on LLMs. Because I have seen that there's this huge habit that people are now double checking what Google's saying, putting it on the LLM, and seeing what the LLM generates as a response. So there is that consumer behavior. So what you need to check and understand is, do you show up before your CEO sends you a screenshot saying, why aren't we showing up here? So it's doable, and we start with that. Second is citability, which is, can LLMs trust your content? And this starts from, a lot of companies historically have written this age-old content which has been sitting on our websites for last 20 years because it was approved by compliance sometime, and we've not changed it for so long. This is the moment to go change it. LLMs need fresher information. You have to rewrite a lot of the content that you have on your website to make it LLM ready. Now, the way the world is moving, we spoke a lot about CX, right? Customer experience. We optimize our websites for that, for the user experience, UX on the website. The way the world's moving, it's going to be about agentic experience, AX. Agents will be interacting with your websites. They'll be deciding who they should be sending to your platforms, which pages. So how can you rewrite content to make them structured, more authentic? You will see when you see LLM responses, they're super structured. They're either in a table format, or they're bulleted, or they're concise, or they're TLDR. A user today doesn't want to go through a 2,000-word article. We've all been trained, hey, in the name of EAT, let's write a 5,000-word article about anything, everything about something, and just put it on our website. That doesn't work anymore. Because if your content's not structured on the website, the LLM will have choices between multiple websites, and if they see someone's done a better job of summarizing and doing the LLM's job, they'll take a split-second decision and go to the other website. So how do you make sure your content is fresh, has a summary of a TLDR structure? Can you add quotes and references. For example, the gentleman before me had so many amazing things to speak. Now, if you're running a Salesforce shop, I would say go on your blogs and write down everything you spoke about today, about the same, and you'll see that that added personal quotes and industry reference media, and you'll see that article go on top. And that's what's happening, which is how do you add credible information? I was speaking with someone, we hosted a CMO dinner yesterday night, and someone was telling me that their CEO talks all the time on CNN and investor education and stuff like that. And there's just so much video content. Go put that video content on your web pages. Put out what you're doing on CorpCom and PR and videos if you're coming out on TV and other platforms, and put that out on your content, because suddenly it lends your content so much credibility. And that's what the LLM is looking for. They see a CNN link, they see a big publication link, they see some PR note, they see an event mention, huge value. The third thing is retrievability. Can LLMs use your content to answer future questions? Which means, can you make your LLM readable markups? This involves a bit of technical elements. If you're not very happy with your IT team, you might have a hard time thinking through, and I know a lot of us don't, but you need a very strong technical SEO element and have strong technical recommendations, because the LLMs, to index content, your content has to be retrievable. So this is a good framework to build on. And a lot of people ask us, hey, how should we measure impact on GEO? Generative optimization, how do I know I'm doing well or not? So the metrics to look at in generative engine optimization is largely the two on the left side: brand mentions and domain citations. Remember these two names and metrics, very important. Brand mentions means number of times your brand is appearing on AI answers out of a total tracked number of prompts. If you define a prompt universe of, say, 500 prompts that you want to track, and say you throw those prompts on these 5 different LLMs, and then you hear back, is your brand name coming up on that answer? And try using non-branded prompts so that you get a very fair understanding of where you are. In fact, at Pepper, we put together this personalized audits for a lot of you. I've been crazily carrying a lot of booklets in my hand and trying to hand them over to some of you. Please do take a look at that. We've already done that for your brand. We've picked up a set of 15, 20 prompts, and we've thrown them on LLMs for your website, and we created like a personalized audit for probably 40, 50 companies here. We still have some of them on our desk, so please check it out. You'll get a good understanding, and I'll also cover that in the section forward. You'll understand whether you're showing up on the brand mentions. The second thing is domain citation. Number of times your website is getting cited on AI search. What does this mean? When you type up a response on ChatGPT, whenever it plops up an answer, in the below section, there is something called citations. ChatGPT mentions the sources it is taking your content from. And what domain citation means is whenever an LLM is answering, is it actually showing a cited response? And does your website being used for them to cite an answer? And how can you increase more domain citations? That's how your brand will start showing up a lot more. And this only happens with very credible pages and segments. So these are two metrics to think about. So if you see the old SEO metrics, keyword rankings, page views, backlinks, bounce rate, that's still important, but that's for SEO. For GEO, additional metrics are citation mentions, answer appearances, and a few technical things. But fundamentally, if you remember these two, you should be good enough. And you keep measuring yourself. And the best thing with LLMs is the way they're evolving. Every day, they're indexing thousands or hundreds and thousands of more pages of content and learning. So if you take incremental efforts, you can do really well. And I have some very exciting ways on how you can do that in the next few slides. Just to give you a quick sense, we actually went through the engineering blogs of a lot of these LLMs like ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity, and we realized that there's a huge mathematical difference between source weights that SEO was weighed upon and now AI search is weighed upon. SEO was all about backlinks, on page keywords, optimization, engagement, CTR, dwell time, how much time people are spending on your website, and stuff like that, and technical SEO. Very interestingly, with AI search, they don't care a ton of about those metrics. But what do they care about is the items below, authoritative lists. Do you show up on top 5 mortgage brokers in New York? Do you show up on industry accreditation based lists? There's a lot of associations in insurance, in healthcare, in different segments. So, do you show up and come up on those lists? And this means I'm sure your PR person is coordinating with some of these publisher websites. I would say go speak to them and take a lead on that. Because those partnerships with a nerd wallet or with an Investopedia or with specific industry based publications that you were syndicating content to are now just very important. Second, reviews and ratings. If there are directories where there are reviews and ratings for your products and they don't look good, that's the first thing you need to fix. Because suddenly, people, and see, most of you come with enterprise brands which already are a brand name. So it's not like all of you have a top of funnel problem at all points. The biggest problem is conversion. The biggest problem is consideration. How do I get, and because there's so much commoditization in products, the only value difference you bring in is how do you get the customer engaged? I know there's a lot of credit unions out here. How do you think through community engagement? All of those things become super powerful. So the moment they'll say, hey, give me a review of community bank A versus bank B, and the LLMs will put across all the reviews. It'll show you users have tagged this not great experience, have tagged this low customer success response, and sales effectiveness and so on. It's like all the dirty laundry coming out. So how do you go understand, fix that, becomes super important. Awards and accreditation, very important. Every time you win an award, go create an article about it on your website, let people know, or talk about it on LinkedIn. Um, Social sentiment, customer examples, case studies. LLMs want to cite things which make them feel more smarter. So if they have those case studies that you can put out about whatever you've been doing, they value that a lot. So you see, there's a huge difference between what SEO is doing in terms of valuing and what GEO does. Now, are both important? Yes. And that's why, while people focus on the first part really well, for GEO, if you're winning on SEO, that does not mean you'll win on GEO. And the best thing with GEO is everyone starts on the same plane. You don't need 20 years worth of SEO juice to win. You can be smart about it and get going quickly. At Pepper, we've built a platform, and there are a lot of tools outside who can also do that. But we've built this platform which enables you to track these prompts and start identifying what your brand performance trends are over those prompts. So how Atlas, and our platform is called Atlas for GEO, that's how we've put it out. What it does is we take 500 prompts, we run these prompts on a single day basis, and we get outcomes and outputs. And then we analyze across a list of your competitors who is showing up more on. And then we can analyze brand performance and a share of voice. And that way you can create an executive level presentation on anytime anyone asks you, how am I doing on LLMs? And this is a great dashboard to show. And what it does is it gives you AI search visibility. And the biggest thing is once you know what the gaps are, we talk a lot about what next. and how to fix it. What that means is seeing who is showing up on top, looking at the page structure of which pages are ranking for them. And you'll be surprised, it gives you an analysis of totally different kind of websites you had thought would be ranking. Like a lot of websites like NerdWallet, Investopedia rank much higher than financial products or credit cards. Uh, and it's interesting to see the kind of URLs that show up. And then our recommendation is go create partnerships with those people, sponsor their content, because suddenly them mentioning you has a lot more weight and value in these LLMs. Here's a very important section, 7 strategic shifts in AI search and how CMOs must respond. We have a lot of booklets for these physical copies that we can also hand over to you, but highly recommend taking taking your team through it in terms of AI search education. I want all of us to do one quick thing. Pull out your phones and put a URL, cloud.google.com slash natural hyphen language. cloud.google.com slash natural hyphen language. Now what you're going to see is what we know of keywords today in SEO very soon is going to be about entities. And what does entity mean? When you go open this entire this website, there's going to be a search bar where you can input some information. So if you see on the slide, it's written Google headquartered in Mountain View, unveiled the new Android iPhone. And if you see below, it will show you how the LLMs are reading your content. So what's happened is earlier SEO was a lot about semantic search, query based. You put in a query, it'll run that query string, identify which results are relevant, show them up. LLMs are moving to entities where each of us, our name, a price, a brand name, a location, is going to have a knowledge graph of its own. And entities will then build context and relationships between these entities and map them to LLM responses. So you can put in a lot of content on your website on this URL. I'll show you how the LLMs read your content. It's actually a very fun, technical, geeky thing to do, but you'll love it. It'll be crazy to see how, they're actually segmenting your content into things you thought, okay, that's how actually they read them. Number 2, how LLMs weigh you for a recommendation. There is something called as an LLM retrieval score. What that means is how LLMs are able to chunk your content, structure your content, schemas so that machines can read them, source weights, and we'll talk about that in the next few slides, and trust signals. These are things that make your content machine friendly and engineer authority that drives signaling to a lot of these LLMs. Different LLMs weigh sources differently. For ChatGPT, authoritative list mentions, and this is not an overall percentage, this is just for a specific company. These weightages and these percentages might vary for your business, so don't take it exactly at face value, but the goal is just to show you different factors have different weights across LLMs. What works for ChatGPT might not work for Claude, might not work for Perplexity. All of them have their models. So what should you be doing? Focus on ChatGPT and Gemini. Gemini is Google. Both of these two should be enough. Everything else will take care of itself. Number 4, number 1 on Google does not mean number 1 on AI search. That's a very common myth. People think that I'm already killing it on Google. Maybe you're not on LLMs. Salesforce doesn't show up on CRM for mid-market companies on LLMs. You'll be surprised. The way the world's moving, there's a lot of optimization and thinking on how LLM search works. It's still WIP, but this matters. 5th, the age of your content matters a lot. Because I was talking about content refresh, go think about refreshing a lot of content on your website. AI search results are 25% fresher than Google. 25% fresher. So if you're putting out any, and make sure you have timestamps when you publish, or check with your CMS provider because those timestamps are readable. And suddenly, anything that shows up recently will get more weightage on an LLM. Reddit, I know that's a word all of us have been hearing a lot. Reddit, Quora, and LinkedIn are more important than ever. LLMs are outweighing huge amount of value to these places. So how can you focus on getting LinkedIn citations, writing LinkedIn Pulse articles? I know you have a lot of CEOs who are probably looking to figure out how to be out there, get them out on LinkedIn to put thought leadership out, or get them to post content there. It starts surfacing up a lot of brand mentions. Similarly, Reddit, huge value in community building. I'm short on time today, but I can talk to you about how you can implement Reddit playbooks. And seventh, video content for the win. This is the biggest takeaway if you have to take one from today. Invest in video now. YouTube is the biggest thing Google has that other LLMs don't. And there's billions of terabytes of video data. And I don't know if you know, Instagram became indexable on Google. So today, you'll start seeing what we see as text at the top in AI overviews. Very, very soon is going to be video. Meta hired like $100 million worth packages of these engineers from Google and DeepMind and all of these. All of their backgrounds are video models. There's a huge, huge play coming on video. Go focus on YouTube. That's almost like video SEO and search. A lot of people will consume content in that segment. At Pepper, how we think through this is strategy, technology, talent. I know there's a lot of AI slop out there today. And it's important that especially how you think about, don't think about content as I want to create 100 articles and I can do it through AI. And I know half your compliance won't allow you that, but use authentic human experts. There are a lot of AI platforms out there today who claim a lot of things, but especially your authenticity and your voice matters a lot. You need to have some kind of technology stack which helps you think around measurement, and you do need to have a good consulting perspective on how it's relevant for your industry. We're great, by the way. You can check us out. But think us through. You need strategy, technology, talent in your roadmap. And giving you a quick sense, the audits that I was talking to you about, once you define a set of prompts, our platform gives you a report card like this, which tells you what your brand presence is, what your domain citation is, which LLM you're showing up more, and which LLM are you showing up less. And it gives you LLM-wise performance, and then you can optimize what you need to do better. And then the goal is, how can we get your brand presence from A to B, domain citation from A to Z, depending on what you're looking to focus on. And how we do it is we have a list of prompts, like I mentioned, and we actually check through technology. Do you have a brand presence on this LLM for this prompt? Do you have a domain citation for this prompt? Yes, no, yes, no. And then we create an actionable list of things we can do that helps us get here. Right? So it's very methodical, very first principle driven in how you can build this out. And even with Reddit, and we can talk more about this, but please create and use Reddit as a community forum. Don't think you can get 500 bot accounts to post random stuff. Reddit will take it down. So how can you think about creating authentic community? There are a lot of software brands and financial services brands who are now building Reddit as a social channel. This website gets 11% of the websites of the world's total traffic. That's how big it is. So please, please invest. And we've been working with some very forward-thinking brands. This is Mutual of Omaha. I'm sure a lot of us would have heard it here in Midwest. We've been helping them scale organic traffic and show up on LLM search. And you'll see we've been helping them also produce a lot of content that can be more LLM ready. Our articles are generating 5.4 times more clicks than non-Pepper articles they had. And we helped them produce 150 articles in the last 1 year. That's the kind of scale on health, retirement planning, and other segments. and these are now showing up on LLMs, where everyone's traffic is going down. In the last 1 year, Mutual's traffic has gone from 300,000 visitors a month to 550,000 visitors a month. And they've been able to actually drive that kind of value. And at Pepper, we've been at the forefront of thinking a lot about, like I said, traditional SEO agencies, a lot of tools out there. Our model's a bit more full stack, where it's a platform plus service. So if you're in the middle of thinking about how to think through your SEO geo strategy, come talk to us, and we can help you get more insights. Actually, and why we can say that with credibility is, I'm sorry we had DMFS this time. If it was 2 weeks back, we would have invited you to this conference which just happened. It was on 1st October. It's called Index, the world's first AI search conference, where we had amazing speakers, head of AI search at NVIDIA, CMO at G2, a lot of the McKinsey partners, someone from Salesforce as well. And we learned a ton of things. Very interestingly, we have a YouTube playlist of all the 8 to 9 sessions that happened, which can give you a very good insight on how CMOs are thinking, how practitioners are thinking. So we have pretty much everything for everyone. We're happy to send you that YouTube playlist as well. Once in a generation, technology doesn't just improve, it changes the way we see the world. That's what's happening to search right now. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's all.
That was great. That was a great talk.
Thank you. Do you have questions? Or?
Yeah, I guess this is so interesting. We're a little late, but go ahead with some questions.
I can take 2 questions. Thank you.
Real quick, there have been conflicting studies about where AI gets its facts. SEMrush just put out a study that said they studied over 150,000. I'm looking at, I want to make sure I get this right. And they said that 40% of AI is from Reddit. And up on your slide, you had 11%. Can you explain why there are all these conflicting studies? Because this one gets conflicted by a different one that says Reddit is only 2%. Another one says 75%.
Yes. So, see, there will be all kinds of studies at all different points of time. I don't know if it's 40 or 10 or what exactly. I can tell you it's important. And all these studies are done on surveys. Like, I'm sure SEMrush has a survey of, probably 10,000 SEOs. And I would say they're accurate. But I would say the takeaway is not the exact percentage. The takeaway is invest in Reddit if it's relevant to your business and build a community around it, because it's important.
He just threw something at me.
No worries. I am just across the room. Please reach out. Happy to spend more time. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks.